at VTC on a Thursday night at our spiritual salon, and one of the components of our spiritual salon is The Alchemist, right? And we are almost done. We still have, 3 weeks after this to go, but we've been going through this book bit by bit by bit for 3 months. Yeah, 3 months already, and it is one of my favorite books. It is one of my favorite books. I read it one to 3 times every single summer. Have been doing that for about the last 8 years. And every time I read it, I got my favorite parts, but there is something new that comes out, some little glimmer or something like that. And it is just so chock-a-block with incredible, relatable, universal themes that almost any of us can resonate with as we move along our path, our hero's journey, our various hero's journeys at any given time. And so last week, where we left off, actually the three key points last week were that our value doesn't come from external sources, that it is something that always exists and is defined from within. That the only way to learn is to take action, and so the only way to experience life is by living it. So not just by reading or theorizing or taking the classes or listening to the podcasts or even having the conversations, you actually need to experience it, right? And then the third thing was that our personal legend or realizing our dreams isn't just about the actual goal, it is about the entire journey and all the lessons experienced along the way. So where we left off in the story is the boy has definitively decided he is going after this personal treasure that is at the pyramids of Egypt. He is with the alchemist. He has left the oasis behind. And this one particular evening when they're sitting there in the desert, making sure they're being really quiet because the tribal wars are at a peak and they don't want to draw attention to themselves, the alchemist tells the boy how important it is to listen to his heart, because his heart is what connects him to the soul of the world. They crossed the desert for another 2 days in silence. The alchemists had become much more cautious because they were approaching the area where the most violent battles were being waged. As they moved along, the boy tried to listen to his heart. It was not easy to do. In earlier times, his heart had always been ready to tell its story, but lately that wasn't true. There had been times when his heart spent hours telling of its sadness, and at other times it became so emotional over the desert sunrise that the boy had to hide his tears. His heart beat fastest when it spoke to the boy of treasure, and more slowly when the boy stared entranced at the endless horizons of the desert. But his heart was never quiet, even when the boy and the alchemist had fallen into silence. "Why do we have to listen to our heart?" the boy asked when they made camp that day. "Because wherever your heart is, that is where you'll find your treasure." "But my heart is agitated," the boy said. "It has its dreams, it gets emotional, and it's become passionate over a woman of the desert. It asks things of me, and it keeps me from sleeping many nights when I'm thinking about her." "Well, that's good. Your heart is alive. Keep listening to what it has to say." During the next 3 days, the two travelers passed by a number of armed tribesmen and saw others on the horizon. The boy's heart began to speak of fear. It told him stories it had heard from the soul of the world, stories of men who sought to find their treasure and never succeeded. Sometimes it frightened the boy with the idea that he might not find his treasure or that he might die there in the desert. At other times, it told the boy that it was satisfied. It had found love and riches. "My heart is a traitor," the boy said to the alchemist when they had paused to rest the horses. "It doesn't want me to go on." That makes sense," the alchemist answered. "Naturally, it's afraid that in pursuing your dream, you might lose everything you've won." "Well, then why should I listen to my heart?" "Because you will never again be able to keep it quiet. Even if you pretend not to have heard what it tells you, it will always be there inside you, repeating to you what you're thinking about life and the world. You will never be able to escape from your heart, so it's better to listen to what it has to say. That way, you'll never have to fear an unanticipated blow. And so in this passage, there are 3 quotes that jumped out at me. The first one is, the heart is afraid of that in pursuing your dreams, you might lose everything you've won. How many times in life do we stop ourselves from doing something because the risk is so great we would have to give up something that is already so amazing? Or it's so familiar that to let it go is just like, I can't even, you know? And so the next quote is, even if you pretend not to have heard what it tells you, it will always be there inside you. And here, the alchemist is telling us that we can never ignore our true nature. No matter how hard we try, no matter how hard we might think we know better, there is always that inside of us that is whispering to us, that is slapping us upside the head sometimes, that is appearing as signs or omens around us, right? But it's not external signs. Those are just reflections of what is going on the inside. And when we allow ourselves to pay attention, then we have an opportunity to be more aligned with what it is that is ours to do, or realizing our personal legend. You will never be able to escape from your heart, so it's better to listen to what it has to say. That way, you'll never have to fear an unanticipated blow. And so I have to say, I needed to read this one a few times because I'm like, I know what this means, and I can't quite articulate it. But what it's saying here is that we go through life and we can get wrapped up in all the stuff that is going on around us, and stuff will happen. Challenges will happen. We will be challenged as we grow. But those challenges, those obstacles, those aren't meant to be punishments. Those are meant to be opportunities for us to tune into and listen to our heart. And as we do, then we get to navigate those challenges with the wisdom and the courage that our heart provides. So the title for my talk today is Lessons of the Heart, okay? I don't know if something got stuck, but anyway, Lessons of the Heart. So we go on. The boy continued to listen to his heart as they crossed the desert. He came to understand its dodges and tricks and to accept it as it was. He lost his fear and forgot about his need to go back to the oasis because one afternoon his heart told him it was happy. Even though I complain sometimes, it said, it's because I'm the heart of a person, and people's hearts are that way. People are afraid to pursue their most important dreams because they feel that they don't deserve them or that they'll be unable to achieve them. Can you put it on the talk title slide, please? We, their hearts, become fearful just thinking of loved ones who go away forever, or of moments that could have been good but weren't, or of treasures that might have been found but were forever hidden in the sands. Because when these things happen, we suffer terribly. My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer, the boy told the alchemist one night as they looked up at the moonless sky. Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. Every second of the search is an encounter with God, the boy told his heart. When I have been truly searching for my treasure, every day has been luminous because I've known that every hour was a part of the dream that I would find it. When I have been truly searching for my treasure, I've discovered things along the way that I never would have seen had I not had the courage to try things that seemed impossible for a shepherd to achieve. And so in this particular excerpt, the first thing that jumps out is the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. How many times can we work ourselves into a lather just imagining how hard or complicated or challenging something might be, or how hard it might be, or how, it's not going to work out, without even trying it, right? There's this saying, I probably said it a few weeks ago when I was talking about something, that worry is a waste of imagination, right? Mel Robbins has this thing that she says, what if it all worked out? So if we're going to imagine something, how about instead of worrying about what could possibly go wrong, how about just imagining how well it could work out? And then just trusting that whatever it is that needs for us to happen, whatever it is that we require to make that thing happen, to experience that, to open up to that opportunity, we already have it within. And so again, it's for us to tune into and trust our heart and listen to whatever it is and however it is that our heart is guiding us. And then, when I have been truly searching for my treasure, I've discovered things along the way that I never would have seen had I not had the courage to try things that seemed impossible, says the boy. We're only aware of what we're aware of. If there are infinite possibilities in the quantum field, we are only focused on one, then there are infinite possibilities that we're not focused on, and there are infinite experiences and infinite opportunities and infinite ways that we could show up in life and that we could experience life, right? And so it's ours to allow ourselves to open up to those infinite ways. And the more that we move along our hero's journey, the more we navigate every single obstacle that shows up in our path, the more we have the courage, the more we have the wisdom, the better prepared we are for the rest of the journey. And so moving on to the last section. From then on, the boy understood his heart. He asked it please never to stop speaking to him. He asked that when he wandered far from his dreams, his heart press him and sound the alarm. The boy swore that every time he heard the alarm, he would heed its message. That night, he told all of this to the alchemist, and the alchemist understood that the boy's heart had returned to the soul of the world. So what should I do now? The boy asked. Continue in the direction of the pyramids, said the alchemist, and continue to pay heed to the omens. Your heart is still capable of showing you where the treasure is. Is that the one thing I still need to know? No, the alchemist answered. What you still need to know is this. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons we've learned as we move toward that dream. That's the point at which most people give up. It's the point at which, as we say in the language of the desert, one dies of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared on the horizon. Every search begins with beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victors being severely tested. The boy remembered an old proverb from his country. It said that the darkest hour of the night came just before the dawn. So here we are reminded again, as we have been many times throughout the story. If we go way back to the beginning, remember the story of the miner who was trying to find, I can't even remember what it was now, an emerald or something like that. And he'd been panning for whatever it was for years and years and years. And finally, after 5 years or something like that, he was just about ready to give up. He picks up a rock, he throws it, that rock smashes against another one, and all of a sudden, poof, there's the most beautiful gem of whatever it is that he was looking for. And it was the old king that had showed up as that rock to help the guy along because he had committed himself to working and realizing his personal legend for so long. So this is our reminder that we are going to be challenged. We are going to come across obstacles. Sometimes it might seem like, oh my gosh, how much longer is this going to go on? Am I ever going to get there? But the whole thing is that when we trust, when we allow ourselves to just really, really continue one step, one breath, one choice at a time, knowing that whatever it is that we require to guide us along the way exists within us every single moment of every single day, then that's when we get to move through, around, climb over, push through whatever, all of those obstacles that might be in our way. Because again, the obstacles aren't there as punishment, even though it might feel like it. The obstacles are there so that we can take all of the lessons, all of the experience, all of the wisdom, all of the insight that we have gained along the way and put it into practice so we can expand into a greater, more amazing, more fulfilling version of who and what we are and of realizing our personal legend. And so at the end of this section, we hear something that I think we've all heard and experienced at some time, and that's every search begins with beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victors being severely tested. I feel like there's a word missing in there. But anyway, so it's ours to remember that the more we travel along our hero's journey, the more that we tune into the wisdom and the courage of our heart, the more we allow ourselves to be prepared for everything that is yet to come. And even though it might seem like it in the moment, there's no way I can handle this, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, here's the thing. You're sitting here, right now. Every single thing you have ever gone through, worked through, every single challenge you've been faced with, you have overcome. Because you're proof. You're sitting here, right now. And so if that isn't encouragement and proof enough, then I don't know what is. So our lesson is, you can never escape your heart. It's always there within you. Your heart is the source of courage and wisdom and will guide you if you let it. And when we start, we're gifted and inspired by beginner's luck. As we move along our path, we are tested again and again and again and again, in a way, by our hearts, especially just before we realize our dream. Not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to use everything that we have amassed, everything that has made us stronger and who and what we are up until this moment, so that we can push through whatever it is that's in front of us and express more fully, more joyfully, more enthusiastically, more infinitely as the love, creativity, and resilience we truly are. Thank you, and so it is.